Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Minutes remaining. Killing spree. Double kill.
Hi there everyone, I'm the guy with the gamertag, and today I would like to talk about the beta for Splitgate. Now this is going to be a slightly more off the cuff video rather than my usual say shit and hope it's coherent technique. And that's because as well as talking about the game, I also want to kind of lead into talking about gaming culture as a whole at the moment, because it's a little bit difficult to express my opinions about this game without considering that as well. So this all came about because about 2 weeks ago I started playing the beta for Splitgate. For those of you who aren't aware of this game, it's been gaining a lot of popularity on Twitch and YouTube and overall in the first-person shooter gaming sphere because it is effectively the love child of Halo and Portal, which the developers have tried to make as an homage to almost all original arena shooters. And when I started playing it, it was fantastic. It was one of the most fun things I've tried in a long time. The mechanics, while simple, were really satisfying to play. It had good gunplay, and the addition of the portals just meant that you could go huge in any match. You'd suddenly pop out of a portal, you're behind 3 enemies, you get to take them out. It felt awesome. Being able to shoot an enemy through their own portal feels so satisfying. And it's got loads of those moments which gamers love, those hype moments, and it just allows you to just go for insane clips, which is what was really fun about this game. And I like the mechanics of the game also, because it doesn't have any spammy or bullshit movement mechanics that a lot of popular first-person shooters have at the moment. You can sprint, you can walk, you can crouch. That is it. You can't really crouch spam that well. You do have some jump jets, but they don't accelerate you particularly quickly. And this means that overall the movement of the game feels predictable. You can kind of predict where opponents are, and that's really helpful for someone like me who doesn't have the greatest aim. And it did allow me to pull off some really insane rounds. I was having so much fun. I seemed to be stomping the lobbies I was in, which is not something I've ever encountered in any game before. So I was sort of gushing about this game, really excited. I couldn't believe it. I was even thinking maybe I should start streaming because I'm having a load of fun on it, and I'm also doing really well, so that would massively pick up my ego. But then, by the end of the week, I was starting to struggle a bit more. I was starting to experience a lot more of the different game modes. I found out that I'm absolutely terrible at free-for-all modes. I'm just awful at those. And also, I just found myself up against much harder players. It was still fun. I was still having good games. But it would take me a couple of minutes sometimes to actually get into the game and actually start getting some kills. Then I spent a week away from my console for other reasons and came back yesterday. And I got absolutely stomped. I had no chance. There were portals being opened up around me. I couldn't react. And I just couldn't seem to get a grip on the game. It would take me about 4 or 5 minutes to just get a kill. I'd spend most of my time running around looking for an enemy. And it was a lot more rough. And it kind of lost some of that fun factor. I think unfortunately a lot of the fun I was having was just because I was doing so well and it was unbelievable for me that having picked up a game in a couple of hours, I was able to actually do really well in my lobbies. Whereas now, a lot of the players seem to be a lot better, and whilst I adapted quickly, I hadn't adapted enough to be able to keep up with the pace that gamers were developing. And this is the other aspect where I want to talk about gamer culture. Because when I think about this, is it just me, or is it streamers? Because it could just be that I'm developing into a bit of a boomer at a much younger age than other people. It might be that my mechanical skills, whilst never amazing, are just not anywhere up to scratch to what the kids are able to do these days. Or is it to do with streamer culture, where actually it's not necessarily that my reactions are terrible, it's just that I don't play the game for several hours a day every day to be able to be as good as they are. I don't have the time to be able to develop that game sense that they are all able to. And that's one of the things that I think is kind of going on in gaming at the moment, which really does kill the fun in a lot of games, especially when you look at a game like Warzone. It's been optimized to an unfun degree, a lot of the time, because of content creators and streamers showing people the best time to kill, the best loadout, what's the optimal strategy, and it's taken away a lot of the fun aspects of the game. And you're seeing this in a lot of games. Whilst I love Apex and I still play it, my god, everyone seems to be a movement god sweatlord, and it's insane. I just feel like I'm getting left behind faster and faster in these games, and that's kind of a disappointment. Like, I'd like to be able to go on, just log on and have some fun. I can still do that when I'm with my mates. But my god, it just seems like 90% of lobbies now take the game so seriously that it's like their profession. It makes me wonder whether everyone now is just streaming games, because a lot of people seem to play like they are. And it really is a shame, because whilst I completely get the appeal of streaming, being able to interact with your fan base in real time, being able to share those highs and those lows and those hilarious moments is something that we've never seen in gaming before, and it is hype, it is fun, and I can see why people enjoy it. But especially when it's about players showing how good they are, or the really good players, it leads to other people trying to emulate them, and it just overall leads to a kind of culture in gaming where if you're not spending several hours a day every day getting better and better and trying to improve, you're just going to get left behind, and it's going to be very difficult for you to actually find enjoyment just from playing the game. I find that especially in games like Warzone, I'm really only enjoying it now because I'm playing with my mate and we're pissing about, and it will just be something random, like there's 3 of us riding around on a dirt bike and one of us gets clipped by a tree and just falls off, and it's just hilarious because it looks like a cartoon moment. Those are the kind of things that are still fun, whereas actually just playing the game and trying to win isn't anymore, because it feels like everyone's trying to emulate a streamer, or everyone is optimizing the game as recommended by streamers and YouTubers. And that's a part of gaming that I really hope can be toned down, which I'm not sure whether it's a case of game design needs to change to accommodate that, or whether we as gamers need to actually work a fine balance here. Because it is a shame that when I'm playing a game like Splitgate, I've gone from loving the game and it's the best thing I've played in years for the first 3 or 4 days, and then all of a sudden from then onwards, it's like, no, this is just your average streamer shooter where I'm going to be left behind for the rest of time. That's not as fun. Now, that being said, the times of day I'm playing at the moment are times that most casual players wouldn't be on. There is also some issues with the servers at the moment where they just can't accommodate everyone. The developers are aware of this and they are fixing it, but that's why they have a beta in the first place. And so it is highly likely that the sort of people I'm playing against are the people that have been playing it a lot over the last few weeks and are able to dedicate several hours a day to playing it. But it does still leave me with the question of, am I just being outclassed by people that have a lot more time to play, or am I just a bit of a zoomer boomer? But if I was going to give some quick feedback on my experience playing Splitgate, as I've said, it's mechanically phenomenal. It's really fun to play. It's really satisfying to win gunfights, especially if you get doubles and triple kills. It feels fantastic. And whilst it's not a new detail, I know this was in the Halo games, I just love the announcer voice lines. We've got like double kill, triple kill, kaleidoscope. It's really fun and it just adds to that hype. The game also has its own competitive mode where you've got 3v3 battles. These were quite fun. I do like the way the arenas are set up. The only thing I personally find is that when I compare it to things like Battle Royales, there's always little variables that will make a game play differently. Whereas I feel like these arenas, I noticed that in my games, players would start to play them very similarly. Maybe that's just because the game is new and players really haven't been able to expand their minds enough to properly go crazy with it. But it did feel like they were very quickly going to be optimized. The game also had loads of maps, which was fantastic. It meant that there was always new navigation methods to learn, which is ultimately what was so fun about this game, is the addition of the portals into it. The first-person shooter mechanics are fantastic. And then adding the portals in just gave you a whole new level of map navigation options. Because why worry about walking from A to B when you can be in A and B at the same time? That's a mechanic which I don't think has ever been seen in a first-person shooter. And it just works. It's so much fun when you manage to gun one player down, go through a portal, end up somewhere else, close a portal, and you manage to escape from the next enemy whilst your health regenerates. That's really fun when you're able to just confuse someone with a portal, or, as I said before, shoot someone through a portal or through their own portal. Is so much fun, and it's a really hype moment, which I love. There were a couple of things I wasn't so keen about in the mechanics. Firstly, if you enable auto sprint, if you're already moving, you can't make your character sprint without coming to a dead stop. I don't know if this is intentional or whether it's perhaps a small oversight. It was something that I found frustrating because it meant that I had to come to a dead stop if I wanted to sprint again. And that really was frustrating. And it made the movement feel less fluid, which wasn't so enjoyable. I also find that on a controller, it might just be that my aim is shite at the moment because I'm adjusting to a new controller. I have found it sometimes a little bit difficult to create portals if I'm trying to quickly flick and do a portal and then open up the other end near me. Part of that is due to the way I set up my sensitivity. I've prioritized it entirely for gunplay because if I set my sensitivity higher, I am not going to be able to control it. But that does mean it's very difficult to quickly activate portals. Because the game has these blue surfaces which you can open the portals on. It might be better if the hitbox for those blue surfaces was just made a little bit larger, so if you just miss it a little bit, you can still open a portal. Because at the end of the day, you don't ever have to open the other end. You don't even have to go through it. But it would be nice to just be a little bit more forgiving for a controller player as to when you can actually open those portals. And then there are obviously the server issues where it seems that beyond 6 PM it's very difficult to actually log on to the game. But the developers are aware of that and I'm sure it will be fixed by the game's final release. But overall, Splitgate is a fantastic game. It's a breath of fresh air, and it actually does kind of revive that arena shooter feeling. I never played Halo, and I've got to say, if this is what original Halo felt like, damn Xbox, you had it good. This game feels fantastic, and I would recommend trying it. That being said, I think the overall gamer culture where streaming has become so massive and optimizing games has also become hugely prevalent. I'm not sure whether I will continue playing this game very often. Perhaps when the game fully releases and it's able to accommodate all players, some of the concerns I've had within this video will be fixed, and I won't feel as colossally outclassed as I am at the moment. But that being said, it might just be me. I might be a bit of a zoomer boomer, and I might just have to accept that I'm going to get my shit pushed in for the rest of my gaming life, when I'm not being carried by my mates. But anyway, I do hope you have enjoyed this video. If you do have any questions about Splitgate or you want to discuss the topic in more detail, please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and subscribe if you would like to see more of my videos. Anyway, I've been the guy with no gamer tag, and I'll see you on another video.